Am I the only one upset with the NBA trade deadline? Like, I get it. We're not going to get a caliber trade of Luka the Don getting moved every year, but there were massive names on the trade board. I'm talking Giannis Antetokounmpo, LaMelo Ball, John Morant, names of that caliber, and nothing really happened. That being said, it is 2 o'clock just now. The trade deadline has officially hit. There could still be moves in the works, but you have to get them in ASAP. You have to have already been talking about it. We're going to be reviewing the trades from January 7th when Trae Young got moved all the way up until the final trade of the trade deadline. And as I said, starting at January 7th, we have the Washington Wizards making a massive trade for Trae Young, and they really don't come off of anything. You lose CJ McCollum, you lose Corey Kispert, who is a younger piece. But what the Washington Wizards have done at this trade deadline is going to be massive for their team moving down the line. And I believe they still retain one of their top picks. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they kept their pick for 2026. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments. This was the start of a massive rebuild for the Washington Wizards. And I won't say rebuild, I'll say a completion of a rebuild. You go get Trae Young, you're not a few pieces away from potentially being able to compete for an NBA playoff spot. Now, absolutely not happening this year. The moves they made are going to lead to great things, I think, if they can continue this pace. Now, the Atlanta Hawks, they get CJ McCollum, they get Corey Kispert. The Hawks are really in that weird spot right now where it's like, are we competing? Are we not competing? Are we going to go get depth? Are we going to trade off some of the younger guys? So I think this was a good trade for both teams. Wizards looking at the future, the Hawks building for the right now. Next we have, and this was a crazy trade to me, a beyond crazy trade. This was a 3-team deal. The Cavs add a guard in a 3-team deal. January 31st, the Cleveland Cavaliers get Dennis Schroeder, who is, by the way, you should have taken that Lakers contract, brother. You thought you were going to get more money. You've played on 7 teams since then. They get Dennis Schroeder. They get Keon Ellis, 2 solid guards. The Kings get DeAndre Hunter. And now I get the Cavs aren't really, they're underperforming right now. I'll say, to my terms, I feel like the Cavs should be running away with the conference, and they're really just not clicking on all cylinders right now. So they move off DeAndre Hunter, who I feel like was a big piece for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they really get guard help. And I guess that's to attest to they're having to play Donovan Mitchell so much. He's already banged up, beat up, and already having to miss time. What's it going to look like down the road come playoffs? So I get it. Getting the guards is going to help them. DeAndre Hunter, I just feel like, was a really solid piece for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And the Chicago Bulls come away with forward Dario Saric, a 2027 second round pick, and a 2029 second round pick. I'm going to be the first one to say the picks in the NBA mean absolutely nothing. I feel like if you are not a lottery pick, these picks go typically 90% of the time not the way you want them to go. So who would I say won this trade? I would say the Sacramento Kings won this trade. They're in a position where they're rebuilding. They're getting pieces. The Cleveland Cavaliers, I don't think it's a bad move for them. I just think the Kings really go out here and win this trade. And I don't know what the Chicago Bulls are doing. They're in a, I'm assuming, sell all, get all scenario right now. So we move on to February 1st, where the Portland Trailblazers acquire, and I'm going to maul both of these names, and I'm sorry for it. Vit Krejciki. I get it. I might be more casual when it comes to basketball than I am football. Who is he? Who is that? Who is Vit Krejciki? I have absolutely no clue who that is, and I'm sorry if you're like this in the NBA and you know who that is. I have absolutely no clue. The Atlanta Hawks get Duop Reith, a 2027 second round pick, and a 2030 second round pick. Now, why? I feel like I know who Reith is. I can't even begin to talk about like the caliber of trade this is because I don't know either of these guys. This feels like one of those like little minor, like we're gonna move this, take this money, here's these picks. So now On to one of the, if not the biggest trade of the trade deadline. February 3rd, the Memphis Grizzlies, who I have no clue what they're doing. I don't know if they're buying, if they're selling, what's going on here, what they're trying to do. They don't move. Hold on. They don't move Ja Morant at the trade deadline. I'm going to let y'all know that right now. At this point, Ja Morant does not get moved, but you move off who I was feeling like could potentially be the future of your team. The Memphis Grizzlies get Kyle Anderson, Walter Clayton Jr., Taylor Hendricks, George Niang, and 3 future first-round picks. So they're going through a little, it's even hard to say they're rebuilding. Like I feel like they've been rebuilding. And the Utah Jazz get Jaren Jackson Jr., John Kochner, Jock Liddell, and Vince Williams Jr. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, and I am beyond believing this, the Utah Jazz are going to be a problem here in a year. Jaren Jackson Jr. is massive for that team. You have, and I'm forgetting his name, a guard on their team, and I literally have him in fantasy basketball. Keontae George. Keontae George is turning into a dog. The Jazz look like they're starting to kind of get it together, and the Memphis Grizzlies just seem like they don't know what is going on. Jaren Jackson. Now, maybe I am looking too much into this. I think Jaren Jackson Jr. is an absolute stud, and to trade him is absolutely insanity to me. I get it. 3 future first-round picks if Jaren Jackson doesn't play out. If the Jazz continue to just be bad, those picks are going to be massive for the Grizzlies. I think the Jazz are going to be something insane in the next year or two. Next, we have the Bulls, Pistons, and Timberwolves 3-team trade. The Chicago Bulls get Mike Conley and Jaden Ivey, which I think Jaden Ivey is a massive pickup for the Chicago Bulls. The Detroit Pistons get Kevin Harter and Dario Saric and a 2026 first-round pick swap. And the Minnesota Timberwolves get cash considerations. What does that even mean, chat? What does that even mean? Now, I get it. Well, here's what's kind of crazy to me. You move Mike Conley as the Minnesota Timberwolves, right? You would think they would keep Rob Dillingham because Mike Conley moving out of that role, you're going to give Rob Dillingham a little bit more PT. They traded him too. He's gone. I believe he's gone. Now, I could be wrong. I believe he's gone too. But what? Who won this trade? I'm going with the Detroit Pistons. The more depth they add to their team, the better they're going to be. Now, losing Jaden Ivey is a little interesting to me. I feel like he was pretty solid for them. But getting Kevin and getting Dario, I think is going to be a pretty big move for them defensively and offensively and for depth. The Detroit Pistons are going to be a problem. Next, we have another Bulls trade, and the Bulls are absolutely full selling. They are full send on selling their team. The Chicago Bulls get Anthony Simons, who I think for the Boston Celtics is a big loss. I feel like you could shape him into a better player than, I think he just has way more potential on the Celtics than he does now on the Chicago Bulls. Now, maybe he can turn into something good for this team, but I feel like learning around guys like Jason Tatum, like Brown, we're going to propel him into being a better player. And I feel like you were seeing that in his game as the year went on. And then the Boston Celtics, they go get Nikola Vucevic, which I get it. The Celtics are in that position. They're like, wait, we can compete right now. And you go get a center in Vucevic, which down the line when they made that trade last year, you were like, okay, the Celtics are not expecting to win any games, right? They're expecting to tank this year. They have no Tatum. But what the Celtics are doing, they're competing really solid right now. And what did they lose? They lost a solid center in Kristaps Porzingis. They lost a solid guy in Al Horford. And I feel like Nikola Vucevic is a massive upgrade, even from both of those guys I just named. I feel like he's going to bring more to the table, and he's more healthy. This is a massive, massive win for the Boston Celtics, who are looking to compete for another title this year without their main star. And don't get me started on how big of a pickup this is going to be when Jason Tatum comes back. The Boston Celtics went from competing for championships to rebuilding to competing for championships within a season. That is mind-blowing. The Boston Celtics are going to be a problem. Next, we have the LA Clippers officially falling apart. Now, there could be still trade talks going right now. I don't know. Like, if you're talking about a trade, I don't know how long they have until the trade is officially dead in the water. We might, and I don't think it's going to happen. I think Kawhi Leonard is going to finish this season as a Clipper, but the Clippers are selling hard, sending James Harden to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Darius Garland and a 2026 second-round pick. This was a massive trade for I think both teams won this trade. I think the Clippers needed more experience, what they're going to get in James Harden, and another guard that is going to take more pressure off Donovan Mitchell. And they're losing Darius Garland, who has solid potential, a young guy that is going to build and get better in LA. LA needed this youth, and the Cavaliers needed this experience. James Harden is going to be a dog for the Cavs, and hopefully Darius Garland can develop into that dog that the LA Clippers are going to need in this disgusting rebuild they're about to go through. And when I say disgusting rebuild, I mean they are about to go through a disgusting rebuild. Next, we have the next biggest trade of the trade deadline. The Dallas Mavericks trade Anthony Davis to the Wizards. The Wizards get Anthony Davis, Jaden Hardy, which I feel like was a massive loss for the Dallas Mavericks. Apparently, they don't know how to develop people over there. D'Angelo Russell and Dante Exum. The Mavericks are getting Chris Middleton, who I think is a good veteran to bring into the locker room. AJ Johnson, Malachi Branham, and Marvin Bagley III. Now, the thing I'm excited about Bags getting on the Mavs is, and I think this is a massive pickup for the Mavericks, because if you lose Derek Lively in the offseason, who are you going to pay him because he's hurt every year anyways? Marvin Bagley, I feel like, is physical and fits the same play style that Derek Lively does. And this gives you an opportunity getting Marvin Bagley. Do we want to move off of Gafford at some point? Do we want to move off of Lively at some point? You also get something massive you needed, and they're going to be late picks, but it's going to be okay. 2026 first-round pick from OKC, 2030 first-round pick from Golden State, top 20 projected. 2026 second-round pick, 2027 second-round pick, 2029 second-round pick. This is what the Mavs need. They had no picks. They had no players. They had no future. Now, this is going to put them in a position to draft a team around an absolute dog, the future face of the NBA, Cooper Flagg. And like I said, Chris Middleton's going to bring something great to that locker room. Marvin Bagley is going to bring something great to that team. I don't know how AJ Johnson and Malachi Branham are going to fit into this team, but if they can bring something to that, good job for them, and they get the first and second round picks. The Dallas Mavericks, looking like a laughingstock last year, are slowly starting to turn the team around, and I still think, again, this is a good trade for the Wizards. I won't say either of these teams lost. They go get Anthony Davis, who's going to be a great coach for the team because he spends a majority of the time in street clothes. Jaden Hardy is a guy who can come off the bench, and if you develop him right, can be an absolute dog potential. He obviously won't be a starter. In his sixth man of the year, I mean, could he develop into that? I don't know. I think he could develop to an absolute stud off the bench. D'Angelo Russell, probably not going to be on the team with you next year. Dante Exum's a pretty solid pickup. So I think for what both of these teams are doing, these are massively great trades for both sides. Next, we have the Philadelphia 76ers trading Jared McCain to the Thunder. The Thunder get Jared McCain. The 76ers get a 2026 first-round pick from Houston, probably bottom of the draft. 2020, not an amazing draft pick. 2027 second-round pick, most favorable of picks from Oklahoma, Houston, Indiana, Miami, two 2028 second-round picks. So Jared McCain, who I think has potential to be a dog in this league, gets the Oklahoma City Thunder. Great, because what are they going to do now? They're going to develop Jared McCain into an absolute dog, and they're going to let Williams walk. They're going to let J-Dub, they're going to trade J-Dub in the offseason. They're going to be like, we don't want to pay you all this money. We're going to trade you. We're going to insert Jared McCain into the starting lineup, or Lou Dort, or whoever they want to insert into the starting lineup, and they just have another dog on the bench. The the Thunder are in an insane position to get ring after ring after ring after ring because they're just going to continue to rotate these guys out. You're not performing, you're gone. We have 5 first-round picks this year, and we have Jared McCain on the bench. The Thunder are going to be a problem for years to come, and this was an insane trade for them. February 4th, the Hornets, Bulls swap guards in 3-team deal. The Chicago Bulls get Colin Sexton, Ousmane Dang, 2029 second-round pick, 2031 second-round pick, 2031 second-round pick from Denver and one from New York. The Charlotte Hornets get Mike Conley and Colby White, 2029 second-round pick. It's just 2 teams rebuilding. 2 teams trying to get as many assets as they can, different assets that can fit their team. Colby White is going to be, and I'm assuming it's not highlighted, I'm assuming Colby White probably got moved again somewhere else. Next, February 4th, we have Chris Paul to the Raptors. Now, the Raptors have already released Chris Paul. The Clippers draft the rights to Vanja Martinovic. Draft the rights. I don't know what that means. If someone more knowledgeable of the basketball world can tell me what that means, much appreciated. And the Brooklyn Nets get guard Ochi Abbott. I don't even know. I don't even know how to say that dude's name. I don't even know who that is, chat. I'm gonna be real with you. Irrelevant trade. I'm sure it means something in the big picture. We'll have to see. Don't know who any of these players are, other than Chris Paul. The Jazz acquire Ball from the Cavs in a 3-team deal, and I think they do go on to release him. Atlanta Hawks get Jock Lindell. The Utah Jazz get Lonzo Ball in cash consideration, so they just really wanted the cash. So technically, the Utah Jazz traded for Lonzo Ball and a new printer for the front office. The Cleveland Cavaliers get 2 second-round picks. So Lonzo was the odd man out. The Cavs just traded for 4 guards this trade deadline, and Lonzo Ball's probably going to find his way maybe back to the Lakers. Nah, he'll never go back to the Lakers. We'll see. Anyways, Lonzo Ball's going to end up on a team. Next, we have the Magic trade Tyrus Jones to the Hornets. So we got Tyrus Jones going to the Magic we got Tyrus Jones going to the Hornets, and Magic getting a new printer for the front office. Next, the Warriors trade this one's crazy. If you're a Golden State Warriors fan, I'm telling you right now, your head coach does not know how to develop players. He inherited Steph Curry. He inherited Klay Thompson. He inherited Draymond Green. He inherited Kevin Durant. He gets a guy in like Jonathan Kuminga and Buddy Hield that you could develop into be absolute dogs. You don't know how to develop players, so you're going to send them away to where they can develop to become dogs. Steve Kerr is a great basketball coach. He is not a great, I don't know how to say, he's a great scheme coach. He can go out there and tell you how to run a play. Steve Kerr does not know how to develop players into dogs. And I think we're going to keep seeing that in Ponzinibbski too. He can't be consistent. Losing Jonathan Kuminga and Buddy Hield for Kristaps Porzingis. The average age of the Golden State Warriors is 37 years old. Kristaps can't stay healthy. You just lost, what's his name, to a torn ACL. Curry can't stay healthy. Draymond Green's carrying the team, and he's old, gray in the beard. The Golden State Warriors got finessed. That's just what it is. They couldn't find anyone to take Jonathan Kuminga and Buddy Hield. They said, I guess we'll take Kristaps Porzingis. You got played, Warriors fans. I would not be a fan of that team anymore. February 4th, the Warriors trade Jackson Davis to the Raptors for a 2026 second-round pick. February 4th, the Chicago Bulls trade Yabusele to the New York Knicks for Dallin Terry, whoever that is. Neither of those guys will be talked about after this trade deadline. February 5th, another massive, massive trade. The Minnesota Timberwolves go get guard Ayo Dosunmu. And they trade Rob Dillingham, Leonard Miller, a 2020 and the a 2026 second round pick, 2027 second round pick, 2031 second round pick, and 2032 second round pick. I mean, you had to go get a guard after you just traded all your guards away. I mean, AO is a dog, so it's going to work out for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Absolutely upset they didn't trade Rudy Gobert. February 5th, the Los Angeles Lakers, my Lakers make a splash. Send Gabe Vincent in the 2032 second round pick for Luke Kennard. Who, if I'm wrong, I think we could have signed in free agency. I could be wrong. Maybe he wasn't a free agent. I feel like he was a free agent. We were talking to him and didn't sign him. But here we are trading a guard and Gabe Vincent for a guard and Luke Kennard. I hate the Lakers, dude. I hate it. I'm actually so mad. Bucks, Bulls, and Suns 3-team deal, not including players you would think it would be including. The Milwaukee Bucks get Nick Richards, Nigel Hayes-Davis, Ousmane Deng. The Suns get Cole Anthony, Amir Coffey. The Suns won this trade. And the Chicago Bulls get Nick Richards. The Suns have potential to go out here and upset some playoff teams. I think they're a dark horse. I think what Dylan Brooks and Grayson Allen are doing over there is amazing. If you can get D-Book back healthy, you now have help in Cole Anthony and Amir Kofi. The Suns are going to be a problem for someone in that first round, especially with how physical they play. The Suns are a team that if they take you 7, they're going to have broke your spirit for your next series. I like that trade for the Suns. I don't know why the Bucks didn't move off of Giannis. They're holding him hostage. Pelicans deal Alvarado to the Knicks. The New York Knicks get Jose Alvarado. The New Orleans Pelicans get Dallin Terry and 2 second-round picks and cash considerations. The Nuggets send Tyson to the Nets. The Brooklyn Nets get Hunter Tyson, and the Denver Nuggets get a 2022 second-round pick. Our last really big trade of the trade deadline. If your team made any moves in this trade deadline, let me know if you loved it or hated it down in the comments. The LA Clippers move Zubac to the Indiana Pacers. This is what I was talking about. The LA Clippers are all out. They're ready to tank. They're ready to go. I don't know why they're tanking. They don't have their own first-round pick. The Clippers get guard Benedict Mathurin, which is going to be big for the team. That is a young name for this team. They need to keep collecting young names. Forward Isaiah Jackson, 2026 first-round pick, projected 1 through 4 or 10 through 30, and a 2029 first-round pick and a second-round pick. That's going to be big for the Clippers because they don't have their own picks. The Pacers get Zubac, who's going to be a massive asset when you get your team fully back healthy, and Kobe Brown, who's going to be a solid replacement for Benedict Mathurin. So I think this is a great move for the Pacers. I think this is a great move for the Clippers. Both teams get what they need. Next, February 5th, our last and potential final. We're going to refresh and see if anything else happened. The Charlotte Hornets get Malachi Bradham, and the Dallas Mavericks get Tyrus Jones. Let's refresh this and see if we have anything new. That is our last trade of the trade deadline, ladies and gentlemen. We get no big names that didn't get moved. Let's rattle them off. No Giannis movement, no Ja movement, no LaMelo movement, no who else was being talked about being moved? No, Lord. No Zion movement. No, y'all get where I'm going with this. No really massive splashes at the trade deadline. Again, I will say it. We are not going to get a guy the caliber of Luka the Don moved every year. It just feels weird because there were so many big names talking about getting moved. I would give this trade deadline a C+. I feel like there were a lot of irrelevant trades. I feel like there were a lot of guys that are going to get released after this year or not, if not released going into this year. And I think there were just a lot of cash considerations, this and that. So I give this trade deadline a C+. Let me know what you would rate. If I would rate my team's trade deadline. F the Los Angeles Lakers. Let me know what you would rate your team's trade deadline. Did you make a move? Did you like the move? Did y'all not do anything? Did y'all need to do something? Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget, like and follow.